Yay. Yay. We need a little jingle here. That's me filling in the jingle there. Oh, I put this awkwardly there. Ah, well, that's fine. So, hi, everybody. Welcome to the live stream. My name is Amber Brite. I am brightly colored today so that you remember Amber Brite is brightly colored. And for those of you who are just joining us, who've never seen me before, who are like, who is this weirdly haired girl who is on my screen? I am a professional prop maker and cosplayer here in Phoenix, Arizona. So, hi Django, hi Pixie, hi Oro. Thank you all for joining. I see the comments popping up, so yay, fantastic. But just a little bit more about me for those of you who don't know me. I am, like I said, a professional prop maker, and then I'm a cosplayer. I always tell people I'm a professional prop maker, and the cosplay is where I spend all the money I make from prop making, which is why you'll hear me say I'm a professional prop maker, not a professional cosplayer, because I don't make much money off of that. But it is kind of the other main thing I do. So I specialize in creature horns, prosthetics, cosplay props, aliens, all sorts of stuff. And one of the things that I specialize in, and I'll put some more like with some interesting stuff into here. One of the main areas that I specialize in is original characters. So I've got some instances here of some things that I've been working on. I wonder if I should flip my camera. No, that's going to be weird. It's kind of weird. It's up, down, up, down. Okay, bear with me for 1 second. We're going to try and flip this. Around you make sense. Yay, there we go. Okay, that makes more sense. That's less upside down for you guys. Okay. Oh, no, now it's backwards for me. Okay. But yeah, so here are some of the things that I make for original characters. I specialize in helping mostly like Star Wars cosplayers, but also LARPers, Ren Fair enthusiasts, stuff like that. Add details to their cosplays and add depth to their characters to help tell a story about their character. And cosplay is a really interesting beast, I think, because you do have, at its core, cosplay is about wearing a costume. And whether or not, and I think most people think of cosplay as wearing things that you would recognize, such as, video game characters, anime characters, stuff like that. But there's a whole world of cosplay in which people create their own characters that are in these worlds that we love and go from there. And one of the things that I hear a lot in my own work, in my own adventures, stuff like that, is that people don't know where to start. Oh, I want to do an original character, but I don't know where to start. Like, it's so overwhelming. There's so much to think about. Like, how do you do the thing? Like, how do you do the thing? How do you say, this is the sort of character I want to cosplay, and then come up with a character that's not just looking like you grabbed some out of style clothes from your closet and rolled out to the con. So I think a lot of people, that's kind of where they struggle with original characters is how do I take this idea I have in my head, or how do I get an idea in my head and then move forward with that and create a character that makes sense. So I'm just going to talk a little bit while I am adding some details and stuff like that to this. So it's going to be kind of an informal thing. I've got an outline that I can see, but we don't need to stick to that. So if at any point you guys have any questions, any thoughts or anything like that, I can see chat. So please throw them out, and it should be fun. Should be chill. So I'm going to start with these right here, I'm just going to add a few more details, and then I want to add an easier way to attach this to the belt. These are resin cast horns that I made and painted myself, and you might recognize them, you might not, from my Mando, my Nautilin Mando. So I'm just going to add a little bit to this, and I've already got some of my stuff together. But I think when it comes down to creating your own character, it can be really daunting. Like it really can be. It can be very a bit muffled. Let's see. Let me make sure that it's making this. It's using the same mic that it's supposed to.
Yeah, your mic just changed, Amber.
Okay, hold on. It might have changed.
Yeah. I think it sounds like it changed. Yeah. So give Amber a moment, everybody. She's going to go ahead and work on getting that fixed. I am the ghost in the machine, and hello and goodbye.
Thanks, Thermo. How does it sound now? I think it probably switched to this mic.
It sounds better now. That sounds better to me.
Cool. Yeah. So I've got the mic overhead, and I think what it did, this camera has a mic on it. So I think when I turned that on, it switched to that as well. So thank you, Janko, for letting me know, because I would have talked for like, I don't know, however long I'm going to be on, hour and a half. Yay. Thank you, Abby. Hi, Kevin. Kevin asks, what's been the most important lesson you've learned since making props? I think the most important lesson is just to do it all the way through. And what I mean is, I feel like a lot of people, when they start cosplay, they see other cosplayers. Maybe they see my Twi'lek. Maybe they see somebody else's armor build, and they say, oh, I could never build that. Or they start to put it together, put their own together, and they realize it's going to be not as good. And one of the things that I tell people is like, look, just do it all the way through. Your first build is never going to be the best unless you are the type of person who is lucky enough to have a community of builders. Like, not to toot my own horn, but my sister's Mando was her first cosplay build ever. I think it's pretty fucking epic. It's gorgeous. It's an original build. It's not 3D printed. We made everything from the get-go. It's a really fucking gorgeous build. And the thing with that is that she had me to build it, and it was my 10th, 11th, 12th build. But I still made her go through the process of doing it all the way through. And she learned a lot by doing it like that. So your first build, your first time you try any new technique, it's not going to be perfect. You're probably going to wear it once and then be like, oh, I can do better this time. Just do it all the way through. Just do it. You're going to rebuild it. That's okay. That is a natural part of being a cosplayer. And if you do it all the way through, then the next time you do it all the way through is going to be better. Whereas if you only practice one step over and over and over again, so if you say like, oh, I'm not going to move on to painting until my armor shaping is perfect. Sure, you're going to practice until your armor is perfect, but then you're going to have perfect armor and you're going to realize that you don't know much about how to paint. And then you're just going to make a lot more work for yourself. So just to explain what I'm doing, I'm adding, so right now I'm looping these through my belt, just kind of tucking them through. I want to add a snap. So I am adding a little bit of metal right here to create kind of a pouch. And I'm going to, or not a pouch, but like I'm going to hold it on. See, hold it on. And it'll be adjustable, but yeah, like don't get yourself into this idea that like your first build has to be perfect, or the first time you try something it has to be perfect. The fact of the matter is it's not going to be perfect the first time, and you're going to probably rebuild it, and that's okay. That's part of the natural cosplay process. But if you do it all the way through, at least then you've got the experience all the way through. But like that comes back into kind of the main thing I wanted to talk about today, which is that character creation, where you might never have built a character before. I know some of the people, like I see Oro, I see Pix in here. I know they're role players. They've done where they've built characters before, but maybe you're the type of person who's never created an original character before. Maybe you're the type of person who's created a lot of characters. I cannot get this to lie flat. This is annoying the crap out of me. Maybe you're the type of person who's created original characters for like D&D, but don't know how to do it for cosplay. So what I wanted to do was kind of break down kind of 3 things to be thinking about, or like the main framework to be thinking about, and then just like talk over some ideas and some tips and some things that I've learned to help you create your own character and to be successful. So as you can see, I've created just a little thingy right there. And then I can put a snap there. So now it becomes a little dangly thing. And I'm going to add some, additional decorations to it. I'm going to move my mouse. Oh my gosh, I do not have enough time or enough room. Jabba says hi, by the way. You guys can't see him, but stay over there. Stay over there. Don't go. Okay. Okay. So when you're thinking about creating a character, so first of all, I want to preface this by saying that there are no rules for creativity. There are no like black is always going to mean bad guy, white is always going to mean good guy, no exception. There's no way for me to sit down and say, and I would never say that you have to follow like these rules to be successful, because creativity has no rules. People are going to go out and like do some crazy things. Pink Vader can still slay abso-fucking-lutely. Like you could create a pink Vader that you can still come across as menacing and scary. So there are no rules. There are no you have to do this for creativity. However, there is a framework through which you can think about things that will help you be successful going forward. And I like to talk about it kind of like if we are all out in the woods and we're all headed towards a specific mountain, okay? And I can sit here and I can say, okay, you're headed towards the top of that mountain. Here are the paths that people have been successful with to get to that mountain. We know that they go to the mountain. Other people recognize these paths. These are the paths that other people have walked to get to that mountain. So if you follow this path, it will get you to that mountain. Is that path the only way to that mountain? Absolutely not. You could go the other way and climb to the top of a different mountain and then hang glide over to the top of the mountain that we're trying to get to. You didn't go the way that anyone else went. You didn't even go the way that we were supposed to go along the rules, but you still got there at the same way. So when I talk today, I want you to just kind of keep in mind that what I am trying to do is give you a path to walk forward, but there are no walls to it. If at any point it's not working, you can go a different way. Oro says, one of the campaigns I played in, the villain's standard/banner color was white. They were so bad, even wearing white clothes as a sign of being aligned with the enemy. Yeah, exactly. Like it's one of those things where I'm going to tell you things like, oh, if you want to make a menacing character, there are coded colors such as black, such as red, such as like a really like sickly yellow. Like there are coded colors that will get you to the direction that you're going, but that's not the only colors you can use. So as we are talking about creating characters, as we're talking about, bringing this idea you have in your head to life, just remember that we're talking about the main paths that people can take. We're not talking about the only paths that you can take. But my goal is not to tell you how to get to where you're going, but to give you the framework of these are the things that you can think about that lead you in the direction that you ultimately want to go. So that's kind of the, I want to add this here, I think. Do I want to add that there or do I want to add that? Is it dipply? This is the fun part about decorating things is that I'm always like, what do I want to do? How do I want to create this? So, okay. So first I want to frame, and don't mind me as I like putz through. Ugh, I do not have enough space. I never have enough space. That is the problem of being an ADHD crafter. I could have like literally a huge table and I would fucking fill it. I would fill the whole thing. Like, I wish you guys could see just like the stacks of stuff I have around so I don't have to like get up and leave in the middle of this. But so I'm going to kind of look for what else I want to add to this kind of going forward. So when we are thinking about original characters, there are, ooh, that looks fun. There are three kind of places to start and three areas that every costume, like all of your considerations when you're making a cosplay, are going to slot into. Okay. And that is community, character, and costume. So let me talk about what I mean by each of them. So when I say community, what I mean is, what is your hopes, dreams, aspirations? What community do you want to get from this cosplay? What community do you want to wear this cosplay in? Is it a charity club? Is it at conventions? Is it with a group of friends? So community is about like the social, is it just on TikTok? You know, like community is the context in which this cosplay, this character is going to exist in our real world. Character is your character design. It's their backstory, it's their motivations, it's their personality, it's their history. It is all of the non-material things about your character. How do you want to feel when you're in that cosplay? How do you want others to feel when they see you in that cosplay? How do you want others to react to this cosplay? What sort of role do you want this like do you see this character fitting into in whatever world that they're based in? So again, a lot of what I'm going to talk about is going to be about like specifically Star Wars cosplay, but this goes for LARPing, this goes for Ren fairs, this goes for even just like mashups and stuff like that. Like, what do you want your onlookers or the other people at the convention to feel or to assume when they see your character? Like how, like what is the defining parts of your character? And then your costume is all the physical things about your character. It is literally the material pieces, but it's also the skills and the time and the money that comes with it. So part of your costume is your budget. Part of your costume is your skill set. These are the tangible things that lead you or lead your costume into existing. And here's the thing. So once again, character, community, costume. There is always, for every person, there is a hierarchy to those three things, okay? And the sooner that you, as a creator, as a person, as a costumer, the sooner that you know in your head what that hierarchy is, the easier it is for you to make decisions based in that hierarchy. And what do I mean by hierarchy? I mean that everyone cosplays for a different reason. Everyone wants to get something out of their cosplay that's different. And I mean, it's so easy to see this. You have people who spend years creating a character or creating an elaborate costume to travel around and go to costume contests. You have people who have never entered a costume contest in their life and never intend to. You have people who spend ages coming up with their character's backstory. I just had, and like I'm still giggling over this because like I love cosplayers, I love creators. I just had someone reach out to me for a cosplay commission, and what she wants is a little off the wall, and it was also incredibly detailed. Like, I want this many pieces with this carvings, and I want this many beads on the side of the face with these specific colors. Like, everything, she had her character so defined. And she's like, I can tell you more. And now keep in mind, this is after she sent me like 3 paragraphs about the details of her commission request. And she's like, I can tell you the story behind it, but I don't want to like take up too much of your time. And what am I going to do? No, I don't want to listen to you talk about your character. Of course not. I was like, please do tell. Like, please send me the book that you have written, because it is truly a joy to see somebody else so excited about their character that they have like literally, and she sent me another like 3 paragraphs about her character's history and the other important characters in her characters and why like each of the beads meant like a different color. And I'm just like, I love cosplayers. Like, I love the fact that she had so much information in her head that she was just like, here, have it all. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. So that's the type of person who has prioritized character, because to her, the important thing is that she relay this information about her character in the costume as it is created. So for her, hierarchy is character and then costume underneath, because it's more important for her to define the character as it is in her head than it is for her to have the skills and the material right off the like character then informs costume. Versus if, for instance, for me, sometimes like I like to talk about Melina from Mortal Kombat. People are always like, oh, why did you choose Melina? And the truth is, I didn't know anything about her character. I've never played Mortal Kombat. I think I might have like done it at like a college party once, and I sat there and button matched and like got like completely like roasted or whatever. But like, I don't play that specific game. And so for me, it wasn't about the character. I wanted to build those teeth. So for me, for Melina, costume came first and then character came second. So even in the world of I build multiple costumes, like these priorities can have a different hierarchy depending on the costume. Another great example, and like one of the things that like I feel like I have to say less now, but I used to have to do this all the time, is for Star Wars cosplays. When I first started cosplaying, there was, and like, keep in mind, this was like 10 years ago, so things have changed. There was this expectation, and I don't think I was right. I disagreed with it intensely then, and I disagree with it intently now, that the only good Star Wars costumes were costumes that were approved with the costuming clubs. And so if you have never ventured into Star Wars costuming, you might not know what I'm talking about, but there are some charity clubs called the 501st, the Rebel Legion, the Mando Mercs. These are clubs that their whole mission is to create costumes that are at the level or even better than what you see on the screen. So that's the whole drive of these costuming clubs, is to create these costumes at this high level to do charity events. And so when I first started cosplaying, there was this kind of expectation that if you did Star Wars cosplay, you had to build your costume to club approval. And the only like good costume, and I have no nails. Where's my other one? The only like good Star Wars costumes were costumes that were approved. And like I saw it so many times, especially with my Twi'lek, where people are like, oh, that's your Mando? Is she approved with the Mandos? And I'd be like, no, she's not. And they'd be like, oh. And like I saw it with like friends who did like Rebel pilots of, oh, well, you've got to change this, this, and this if you want to get it approved with the costuming clubs. And it's a lot better now, I think, because the Mandalorian has come out, and I feel like there's a whole host of people who just want to make those costumes. And so because they're a lot more widespread, the assumption that you have to get your costume approved is not as prevalent anymore. I think a lot of cosplayers have come to understand that there is there's one main reason and then like one slightly less main reason to get your costume approved, your cosplay approved with the costuming clubs. And that main reason is you want to do charity events. That is the reason to get your costume approved with the 501st, the Rebel Legion, the MMCC. If you want to do charity events, that's why you should get it approved. The kind of smaller, I wouldn't say main reason, but like the other good reason is community. I see this with myself. Like if I am going to, like, for instance, I went all the way to Florida for Star Wars Celebration by myself, and I wore my Mando, and it was lovely because like I knew that being in my Mando, I could go to the Mando table and like immediately like kind of belong, if that makes sense. Like being an official member meant I had kind of like I was part of that community. So there are people who don't love the charity aspect as much, but they love sorry, my foster dog heard something outside that he is big mad about. And it's probably just like literally someone like walking past. He's quite a protective pupper. He's a good pupper, but he's quite a protective pupper. But like, if you are a type of person who really likes to have community, you know, getting approved with the costuming clubs is a great way to have access to a community. And that kind of goes back to the third of the C's, I guess, which is community. If you want to build your cosplay for a certain community, those communities' needs and expectations and rules have to come before everything else. If you want to build a Mandalorian and get it approved with the MMCC rules come first. So you look at those and then you design your character and your costume within those parameters. So again, you got that hierarchy of like, I want to join the MMCC. Community is first, and then costume is going to come second, and then character is going to come third, or character and then costume, depending on like kind of how you work through it there. That doesn't mean that the only acceptable, I should have done this the opposite way. The only acceptable like way to design a character is to do it by somebody else's rules. But like, for instance, if you want to like wear your character to conventions, then maybe you want to prioritize a cosplay that is going to be comfortable at conventions, or that you can fit with the theme. A lot of times if you choose community for like, or if you're doing like a group cosplay, your community, that group cosplay is going to come first. because you're all building together. And maybe you're like, oh, we should use this silver so we all match. And someone else is like, oh, well, I don't like that silver. I want to use different silver. And then you've compromised because the community is the most important thing. And again, like everyone cosplays for different reasons. And cosplaying to have friends, to have adventures with other people, to have a support system is a perfectly reasonable thing to cosplay for. And it's a perfectly valid priority to have as a cosplayer. Let's see, do I like that? Yeah, I think so. That'll add a little dangly. And then let's add just a tiny little bead thingy here to match. I don't want to use that. Maybe, where did I go back? Go back. Reverse. Uno reverse. Where did it go? See, this is one of the things when people are like, why are decorated horn pieces, like headpieces, like so expensive? It's because I will literally spend all day decorating one headpiece because like I want it perfect the way that I want it. Like I want it to all tie together in specific ways. And so I will spend so much time putting things on and taking them off and putting things on and taking them off. Like right now, trying to decide, I want to match this bead up here or harken back to that bead. Yeah, I think that'll work. Okay. I just want to show you guys, these are all my beads, and this is half of my collection. So I might have a small problem. It's really bad when like Michael's or like, oh God, Joann's was like going out of sale. And I was like, I'm just gonna buy a little bit. I'm just gonna buy a little bit. And then I walk out with like 3 giant bags of beads and stuff like that. Like it's so bad. Yeah, Broken King. Like that's there's an entire shelf over there that has like more with like bigger greeblies and stuff like that. I have a problem. I'm not sorry though. That's the problem. Is it a problem? I don't know. Anyway, being a professional prop maker means not having a lot of space. That's for sure. This is my jewelry wire. As you can see, I take very good care of it, and it is always organized very well and always in the proper order. I don't even know if you guys can see this because it's super thin. Like this is a super thin. See how thin it is? So
it's showing.
Okay, good. Because it's so tiny. So like, I don't know if it looks like I'm just like freaking doing nothing here. But yeah, so when you're designing or when you're thinking about a new character or original character, think about what your desires are as far as community, what your desires are as far as character, and both your desires and your limitations for your costume, because all of those are going to come into play. And they might shift too. You might start being like, oh, I want to like design the costume. Like I want to build this specific piece. And then you fall in with another community that's like, oh, we're going to conventions. And you're like, okay, now I want a con-friendly version of this costume that I was doing, and so your priorities and the hierarchy of how you put together your character may change as you're building. And that's, I think, a pretty natural thing for things to, do I want to do it like that? Do I want to do it like that? Don't mind me as I'm trying to, I have like a little like jeweler crimper tool and stuff like that, but I don't know where it is. I have lost it as per usual. But so does that make sense to everyone so far? Like what character, community, and kind of costume kind of entail and how they like come to play in real world, because that's kind of like, I think, the easiest way of thinking about the framework of how an original character kind of comes to life. And stupid, don't stab me, thank you. How a character comes to life, and like how you as a customer should start thinking about, or even just like a creator thinking about the things that you want to build. Yeah, I like that. Because now we're going to loop it right through here. Oh, I'm going to double it up. So the thing about this wire being so thin is that I always try and double it up, because otherwise it snaps really easily. There you go. And it creates this nice like little twisty framework that works really well. Okay, and bring it around and down. All right. I'm just going to use these to shape it up here a little bit, because I want it to have a little bit more of a rounder appeal up here. There we go. Okay. Okay. And then I want to trim this off. All right. So now I have a little doobie-doo right there. Okay. So you guys can see that I just added just a couple little goobers to it, and now I've got extra little details and my favorite, extra little jangles. So next I will probably put a snap in it. Did I bring... I'm going to set a snap in it later, because I need to hammer it to set it, and that's going to like make so much freaking noise for you. Django says, I was never a cosplay person, but I enjoy watching crafting streams. I made a little Lego set piece in honor of your return to stream. Oh yeah, you're going to send me a picture of it when it was all complete, right? I'm excited to see it. And see, that's like the thing that like nerds are so creative, and like it's just so amazing to me. I love the range of creativity in this world, like and in the people in this world. It's just amazing to me. I have so many like cool, interesting friends that are doing really cool, interesting things, and like I wouldn't trade it for anything. Sent you some pictures of it on Discord. Oh, I need to hop over to my business Discord and look at it. Ooh, I have not signed into my business Discord in a while. Eek. Okay. I should probably do that this week, though. All right. So that piece is done. Yay. Go us. All right. I'll set this off to the side. Where's my box? Oh, here we go. Box. Okay. And now I'm going to move on to this one, because I wanted to add, I've already got the eyelets set in it. So this is oh no, Django, Discord is good. I've been distracted by other things, and I haven't signed in a little bit, but Discord is the best place, because if you'd sent it to me on Facebook, it would have been gone already, because just like I get so many like spam messages and stuff on Facebook. Discord's easier because I don't get as many spammy messages. But so this is a vambrace that is, these are silicone, so they're like really soft and flexible. And then I added some fur to decorate it. It is on just a pleather thing, which I think if I was to do this again, I'm going to use like wet shaped leather, because I think this is just not as strong as the silicone needs it to be to keep the shape. So this is one of those things. Again, going back to the first lesson, do it all the way through. I've done it all the way through, and I've learned some important things, such as silicone plus or versus pleather is silicone is going to win. So I have silver studdings on this, so I'm going to be using silver findings. And I don't think I have silver findings big enough, so I might use some leather cord there. Yeah, let's use some leather cord on this. Yeah. Wait, I want brown. Brown leather cord. This is my cording box. Look how much cords I have. Look how cool these are. I have many much leather cords. These are all the cords I use for trophy belts and other pieces like that. Trying to tell people how like my cosplay space is organized is always an adventure. Like, what do you mean you have an entire box of just cords? I have an entire box of just cords. I'm like, an entire whole box. Let's use this one. Okay. So going back to your character creation, I think a great exercise for everybody is when you're trying to create a new character and you don't know where to start, pick one of those three and just write down or think about your ideal set of circumstances for that thing. So for instance, if you are thinking about like, well, I want to make a new costume, a new Twi'lek, but I don't know where to start. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to think about, okay, what community might I want this Twi'lek to be for? Do I want to make a Twi'lek to go with the charity groups? Because then I might think about what canon characters, what canon Twi'leks, or what original characters in those CRLs, the costume reference libraries, the references for how you make characters. Like I might think about, okay, what are my options as far as a Twi'lek that fits within those? Versus if I am thinking about, okay, I want to wear a Twi'lek with my friend. So maybe we need to sit down together and talk about like what sort of characters we might want, if they want to match, if we want to have like antagonists. Like if my goal is to cosplay with this friend, then we can start to design our characters together in the framework that we want. So those might be some considerations for your new build if you're looking for community. Are you going to wear it to a convention? Are you the type of person who is really sensitive to conventions and really doesn't like being uncomfortable? Then maybe we talk about designing a Twi'lek where we emphasize like leku that can sit on your shoulders or that you can take off really easily. So that community wearing it at a con informs the choices that we're going to make at a convention. Oh, hi, Eric. Yay. How was work? Thanks for joining us. I know that you were probably busy today. Versus if you are thinking about your character design, be like, I know in the past that I have really enjoyed bad guys, bad characters. I think it's really cool, like to play the bad guy, to have this kind of like alluring aesthetic. I really want to have that kind of like dark and broody aesthetic because I'm a ball of sunshine in real life. So I want to like explore that part. Or maybe you're like, this is my first cosplay. I'm not really comfortable. So I want to go with a character that is going to be kind of more of like a civilian or somebody that's pretty close to my experiences in real life, and that's legit too. I just had a conversation with my brother about how one of the things that informs our decisions about cosplay is the type of cosplay, the type of characters that we feel we can embody well. So for me, I have a pretty angular face. It's I like it. I mean, look at my cheekbones. Like I could like fucking cut glass with these cheekbones, like Maleficent wishes. However, cheekbones like these, Michelle Pfeiffer, I see you. Disney princesses are not really a thing that I'm great at. I don't have the like cute round little face where like you're like, oh, she looks so innocent and sweet. So you'll notice that I don't tend to do really young characters or like really cutesy characters. And when I do a lot with like freckles and trying to like widen my eyes and stuff like that to kind of like compensate for that. But so for me, like when I did like Cinderella, my favorite time I did Cinderella was not the Wreck-It Ralph, though that was favorite for a different reason. But my favorite one that I did was when I did a Cinderella Amazon, because then I felt like I brought more of like that kind of warrior aesthetic that was, you know, suiting to my face shape and still suiting to Cinderella. So, you know, in character design, a character that I feel comfortable cosplaying and then I feel like I look good in cosplay, that's a really legit and reasonable thing to consider. It is not wrong of you or anybody else to acknowledge that cosplay is an aesthetic hobby. It is about looks. And sometimes, and like I don't get it twisted. Anybody should cosplay anybody they want. And just because you don't look like a specific cosplay doesn't mean that you are bad at that cosplay or that you shouldn't cosplay them. That is not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is that for people, your individual comfort level, when it comes to looks, that is a reasonable thing to keep in mind. If you are a femme presenting person and you don't like being super sexy, that's going to inform your character. If you are a mask presenting person and you don't like being considered to be, you know, intimidating or anything like that, that is something else that you're going to like consider. You're not going to look at doing like a muscle builder or anything like that. Have you ever thought about cosplaying Moira from Overwatch? I did Widowmaker from Overwatch because I thought I suited her well, and it was before Moira came out. And I don't think I will be doing another Overwatch cosplay just because I got what I wanted from Widowmaker. Yeah. Like, I enjoyed the build. I enjoyed the challenge of it. I enjoyed the community that was around it. My Twi'lek said that's almost approvable for the Dark Empire, has lots of coverage and layers. Yeah, exactly. You know, like, and it's one of those things where just because you are prioritizing approval for the Dark Empire doesn't mean that it completely negates your like what you want from your characters. Like, it's not that community rules all and like you don't like get to make like it's now we know community, the rules of the Dark Empire are important. So now we're going to look at character design within that. So we're like kind of like shrinking it down a little bit. And lots of layers on your Sith, that's where your character design and your comfort is. Like that's awesome. Django says, and you both work with toxic chemicals without proper safety. Rude.
That honestly, that made me laugh. Okay, I saw that and I was like, should I put it up? I don't know. That's pretty funny.
Django's like, I am reading you to filth, and Django is right. Proper PPE is important. Rude. I'm so much better about PPE than I used to be. I used to just like be like, oh, do as I say, not as I do, and then like never use PPE. I use PPE now. I do. I really do. Sometimes I forget. And the incident that Django is referencing is that I was like, oh, don't use barge without gloves, and then immediately used barge without gloves and got it all over my bare skin. I did go and wash it off. I did. After the stream, I went and washed it off. And I'm pretty good about not doing that. I have a little ADHD brain.
Like she's getting better, okay? I promise. I've seen her get better because at one point I saw her working with resin and she literally burned her leg. And I was like, don't do that. Don't do that.
Oh my God. One of the first times I went and I saw my dermatologist, I had been casting foam without gloves. And so like I had like all this like foam on my arm from where it had like run down and it was like peeling off. And so it looked like my skin was peeling off. And my dermatologist was like, oh, and I was like, no, that's foam. That's not me. That's foam. Like, look, see, come right off. So
like, I promise this is going to peel right off in a few moments.
Yeah. And I'm like, it's fine. It's fine. But like, you know, use PPE. I promise. I am pretty good about it, actually.
If you better than actually, the best thing to do is if you end up getting something on your skin. I know a lot of the times people like immediately go to wash their hands with soap and water. It's actually better to get an oil in your skin and then start using soap and water because the oil helps. It's just like when you're putting body paint on. The oil helps draw out the toxin that's attempting to, like, it causes like a buoyancy thing and it pushes it out. Alternatively, you could go the extremely dry route, but then you potentially run the risk of creating an acid burn. So like some people will use alcohol like IPA, but that can cause another reaction. So it's better to just go with like even a cooking oil, just throw it on your skin, rub it in, and then start washing because you'll get more out.
Coconut oil is the best. I like coconut oil. Safety. I remember one time back when I was first streaming and I was cutting towards myself. I was young. I was dumb. I hadn't stabbed myself enough times to know. And one of my friends who was literally at a nuclear reactor sent me, like he works at a nuclear reactor. He sent me a screenshot of the image and was like, lady, don't make me think.
Like, I get a lab pass. Okay, I do have to say, I'll just preface, I have a family member who worked for NASA, so I know some tricks because they worked in labs with a lot of stuff.
Trying to get that light to be, because I'm losing my sunlight, so I'm trying to like, there we go. I'm not. Okay. That's fine. I'm a little dark, but that's fine. Dark and foreboding, Amber. Dun, dun, dun. But yeah, like he was literally at like a nuclear lab. He's like one of like the safety administrators at the lab. And he's like, don't make me leave this lab to come yell at you. And I was like, I'm sorry. So, you know, don't do stuff like
this
that.
Is the thing, Amber. Most people don't prepare cosplayers for half the crap we're going to end up with. And so some people are oblivious, and it's okay to have a slight oblivious phase. And then once you recognize you're being oblivious and potentially hurting yourself, doing the research and resolving it. But if you could start out with doing the research or listen to us, that'd be better.
Yeah. When people are like, Amber, then don't do it. Like, Amber doesn't do it anymore. Amber is much better. Amber wants to not have skin cancer or lung cancer when she gets to be 80.
I think I sense some sarcasm right here in this comment. Just maybe a hint of it.
No, when we say blood, sweat, and tears, we're just talking, metaphorically. We don't like bleed on every cosplay. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
not.
totally.
Oh no!
Totally.
Dark and foreboding Amber only lasts a few minutes until adorable and giggling Amber shows up. This is so true.
I know, right? It's so funny. It's so funny that I cosplay so many characters that are like, like there's like femme fatales and stuff like that. Because like it's what did Matthew used to call it? Like camera mode or something like that. Because like I'll just be like, la la la, and then I'll switch into, and then like 2 minutes later, I'm like, ah, like,
you know how many times she's tried to show me, like, tried to get me to look dark, and I can't.
Yeah.
Instead, we just have to make me sad. Sad works, but I can't look angry.
I'm like, Sam, drop your head. Drop your head. What are you doing? No, look more.
But
look
I
more
do
angry.
it. It's my chubby little cheeks.
See, and this goes back to Sam has the face that works really well for like those cute characters. So, like,
and yet I'm almost 5'10", and so it's really hilarious because I dress as like younger characters, and people are like, "Wow, that character grew." Yes, they did. Although me being bald is helping with like adding a bit more accent to my cheekbones. So
that's true. You and your Solus looked fucking amazing. So
dude,
like,
I am wearing it to fan fusion, and I'm finally gonna finish the leg armor. But I can't wear it for more than like 8 hours this time, because last time I wore it too long, and it's like almost 15 pounds of fabric. It's heavy.
Yeah. I feel like after every time that somebody like when you wear a new cosplay, you walk away going, "Oh, all the things that now I know." Like,
yeah,
all the things that I'm going to change for next time. Like,
well, and the soles I thought it was hilarious that the soles inside my shoe came apart, so I was really soulless. At the end of the day, we kind of giggled about that. I was like, "Oh man!"
I see what you're picking up. I'm picking up what you're putting down. I'm trying to find silver beads to go on this thing. Is what I'm like digging off in the side for. Like, this is the one downside with just having like too many fucking beads is that then I get to the point where I'm just like, I don't know what to use. So we're gonna pull out some silver ones because I'm trying to stay with the theming of this, and then I want to center a middle one. But so talking about community, talking about character design, when you start thinking about your character as a whole, sometimes people are like, well, I don't know, like, I don't even know where to start with that. Like, I don't know what to do with my character. I don't know how to create a character. And I always tell people, start then, like I said, with how you want to feel or how you want other people to feel when you see that character. Like, do you want to have a fun character? Do you want to have a good guy? Do you want to have a bad guy? Like start at the broadest strokes, which is, how do I want other people to feel when they see me in this cosplay? And then you can kind of ratchet it down or ratchet it down or ratchet it down. Sometimes people have a list of characters or types of characters that they absolutely will not ever do. Some of my AFAB friends will not do sexy characters at all. And like, that is just something that they know for themselves that they're never going to do, that, you know, is important to them, that they don't do. So they're never going to do sexy cosplayers or sexy characters. And that's something that's really important and really healthy for them to know for themselves, to have like defined in their head. So that way, when they go to create their cosplay, you know, they already know kind of where they don't want to go. And just kind of like going back to what Thomas was saying, you know, you can create a character with a lot of layers to it, which also has the benefit of having flexibility to that character, as far as if you want to have more stories to tell with that character. Having layers can help you mask your physicality. So for instance, if you are a, you know, tiny person, adding layers allows you to like maybe like build up your shoulders or build out your hips. I have a friend where we did their Mando because they have a very femme presentation, but they wanted to be more androgynous. So we were able to add layers to help give them more of a kind of
That's actually what I did with Solus. That's actually why I made the shoulders a little bit more exaggerated.
Yeah.
A little bigger for like my own self, because I ride the line of masc and femme. And so in order to, and I got hips that are really hard to disguise. So having the bigger shoulders helped with creating that kind of V that the character has. So think about ways. Yeah, I agree with you. Think about ways to mask it.
I could talk for 2 hours just on how emphasizing different parts of your body can transform you completely. Like if you are, a bigger dude, maybe you're, more on the overweight side and you want to, be more intimidating looking, building up your shoulders and giving you kind of that classic triangle overlook, like shoulders and then down to waist and then, smaller legs. Like, it's cosplay is so amazing in the regards that there are so many options to manipulate your body shape into a shape that is more like what you want. So it's worth it when you're thinking about your character design. When you think about how you want to feel in that character, that's important to know, like to think of ahead of time, because that might inform your costume design itself. And again, like if it is most important for you to look a certain way, like you should think about that first and then design your costume to that. Whereas like if it's most important for you to design a costume in a specific way, maybe then that informs the type of character you're going to do. If that makes sense, like depending on where it falls, as in I want to feel this way or I want to build this specific costume piece, like these can play into each other and kind of inform each other. So for a great example is my different Twi'leks. So I have at this point got like fucking 6 Twi'leks or something like that. And I've got like 2 more on the way. But if you take a look at Rio, at my blue and gold Twi'lek, everything is super sleek. I do a lot with emphasizing the bust and bringing my waist down because I want that kind of more willowy figure to her. Whereas with like my Mandalorian, and there's no pictures of this yet, but like I'm building the shoulders wider and then the hips wider to give me more of kind of like a square shape all the way down, as opposed to blue, which is what I have in Rio with this negative space of like my torso. The Mando is going to be more like square all the way down because I want her to feel less like a femme fatale and more of like a brawler fighter type. So this gets into costume. How do you design your costume to tell a story about your character? And like we just started talking about, the first is to think about the shapes, to think about the overall silhouette of your cosplay. Like if we're going from character design into costume, think about the character design and go into that informs how your costume should look. So if we're starting with a character, you're saying, maybe you think, I want to cosplay a civilian. I want to cosplay just a run-of-the-mill person. Well, in that regards, you might not be looking at manipulating your shape too much. You might just, you don't want any like overly epic proportions, so you don't want to build up anything. Versus like with Sam, what she was saying is that with Solus, she wanted to have more of that like intimidating physicality. So she built up her shoulders to emphasize her height.
I had to look arrogant, okay? And noble.
Exactly. And like where are you drawing your eye,
Yeah, which is hard for me. So I just had to like be very stoic.
And we can do a stream at some point where we talk about posing and how to pose, because I feel like that's the other thing is like once people get their costumes, they're like, how do I make this look good in person? And there are ways to do it, and there are like simple tactics that you can use for different types of characters.
Yeah, I agree. But the space you take up or the space you don't take will absolutely change how a character is perceived.
Absolutely. And a lot of the times it's one of those things where it's something almost unintentional that people do, I think, is that they what am I trying to say? going back to the metaphor that there are paths that are already kind of defined towards this mountain that we're going towards. One of the things that I always tell people is if there is a character concept that you have, look at how other people have done it, because part of culture is unwritten social cues that inform other people about ourselves, if that makes sense. So, for instance, in our culture, red and black is almost always seen as like villain colors. So if you want a shortcut to telling other people that your character is a villain, that's built there already, you know? If you are a Twi'lek cosplayer and you want a shortcut, you want to easily tell people that you are a dancer, then big flowy skirts, jangly things, big flowy sleeves. These are all things that we as in our culture look at and already kind of know what that means. So one of the things I tell people is when you're thinking about your character, look at how they are portrayed, like how that type of character is portrayed in other media. And also look at the real life versions of those two. You know, like there's so much of an aesthetic hobby like cosplay is learning about how we communicate with each other without words. You know, how we, in this framework, play with these ideas that we are sharing together.
So and you're talking about that, Amber. I have to mention something because we've been talking about Solus, which is Finn Harrell from Dragon Age Velgard. Yes. I was at WonderCon wearing that, and only 3 people approached me, but I could hear people walk up behind me. Oh, it's Finn Harrell, it's a Dreadwolf, and they look at me all scared and then run away. And I'm like, this is hilarious because that character has that sort of and. But then I also realized, oh crap, I'm scared to interact with me because I look way too serious. So just be prepared that you could do so well that you actually make them go.
Yep. One of my favorite cosplays was back when at the height of Ruby, I cosplayed Salem, and I could tell all the Ruby fans because they would be instantly scared of me. And like that was, I'm not gonna lie, that was pretty satisfying.
That was so awesome, though. It was amazing.
Thanks. I miss the days of Ruby and Salem. Like she was such a fun cosplay. But like she was a cosplay that definitely is the most fun in the context of other people. You know, like the reactions
on her own. People. She's not really like. I mean, on her own, if you're not familiar, people aren't going to know what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, she's surrounded by Ruby customers. Yeah, but like the fun of Salem was the reactions of other people. Great. Thomas says, red Twi'lek, black makeup, evil Brite. I just got to work on that shaping better. Yeah, exactly. Like in Star Wars, if you are a red Twi'lek with black makeup, you are a Sith. You know, and again, like there are exceptions to everything. You know, you could have a red Twi'lek Mando in black armor and have her be a medic. You know, maybe she's got, you know, white and red, you know, insignias on her. There are other ways for you to take those colors and tell more of a story. But a great way to start is by starting with how is this portrayed? How are these types of characters portrayed in existing media? And how can I use that to tell the story I want to tell? Another great example, Andor, season 1, when he goes to prison, they're wearing white jumpsuits. And I think they're like, some of them are like gray too. I forgot, but they're not orange. Okay. Because orange jumpsuit in our culture is an easy way to dictate that I am a prisoner. But orange jumpsuits in Star Wars are for rebel pilots. So those are for the good guys. So in the culture of Star Wars, orange jumpsuits, we're not going to use them for prisoners because they are already used for these rebel pilots. So in Andor, they have white jumpsuits. But you can't tell me, like, you could show anyone who's not seen an episode of Andor, you could show a snapshot of those men in that facility, in those jumpsuits, and most people are going to go, oh, they're in a prison complex. Because even though it's not orange jumpsuit, they were still able to use white, but use all the other social cues, such as, not having personalization on it, all of them being uniform. I think the no shoes thing helps a lot too, which I think is just a stroke of like storytelling genius for Andor as far as like costume design.
Can you imagine how much trouble they had with athlete's foot on that?
Oh God.
That was the one thing I saw that I was like, how do they handle that on sets though? Like,
I don't think the guards care is the problem. Like, I think the guards are just like suffer. So, in Andor, not a great facility that you want to be in, that's for sure. So, but like that character design, the costume designer took a real world example and used just enough of it to tell the story to us that these are prisoners without having to have a giant sign that says, these are prisoners. So when you're thinking about your costume, look at the real world, examples, and also look at it how it's portrayed in other media. And you're going to start to see, it's the uniformity, it's the clean lines, it's the basic fit, because those uniforms, like, they're not like tailored. The difference between like a nice white like spacesuit and those uniforms in Andor is that they're not tailored, they're not fitted, they're not tucked into each other, they're like kind of flopping about a little bit, they're not fitted. So like having those white and clean lines, the difference between prison jumpsuit and spacesuit is a matter of fitting. So like when you start to look at,
you talk about it's actually foot to foot contact. I do know this because someone gave me their athlete's foot, even though I clean my shoes and my socks and my flooring regularly. I didn't know they had it, and it can come from any contaminated surface.
I'm just gonna say, guys, of all the things I thought we were going to be talking about on my stream, athletes.
I'm sorry, I brought up a bad topic.
Not on the list. Did not have this on my
bingo card today. It does bring up the topic of when you have a costume, please disinfect it in some way, though. Make sure you're disinfecting it. If it can't be washed, there's this amazing Lysol fabric disinfectant spray that you can put on it, or you can use IPA, like 90% isopropyl alcohol in a spray bottle with some essential oils. Just, make sure you're disinfecting things and letting them air out so they don't get moldy too, because Arizona, we don't really have that problem. I think it's too dry here, but I know other places where they've put something away right after and they brought their wig out and it had like mold. I don't think I've ever had that problem here.
That's gross. Clean.
Yeah, just keep it clean.
Yeah, if you have a cosplay that's hard to clean, vodka in a spray bottle will cut down the smell. So like if you can't wash it, at least vodka it. Okay, so I'm basically just digging around because I want to put something like extra here, and I'm just trying to figure out
a dingly bit.
Yeah, I want to add dingly bits. And here's another great thing too, is that I think adding these extra little bits is going to help identify this as, oh, this is, a Monster Hunter's vambraces. Hi, Junior. Thomas says that Canada, we're too cold for that, like 7 months of the year. Lucky. Ooh, this lighting makes me look like we're gonna tell ghost stories. Jenga says drunk Amber tricks. Drunk Amber just kind of curls up in the corner, giggles, and then goes to sleep. She's not actually that.
That's so true. That's so true.
It is. Everyone's like, "Oh, drunk Amber." I'm like, half a glass of wine. I'm asleep in the corner. Like, I'm
when we go to Dragon Con, okay, I'm just gonna have to get a little wagon for you. We'll put you in a wagon because there's a lot of drinking at Dragon Con, and I'm worried about you.
It'll be one of those things where I'm just gonna find somebody who looks like they have a nice lap and then just like curl up on their lap. Like that's what's gonna happen.
It's
like,
okay. There's plenty of couches. That can happen. It's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know.
Yeah. Drunk Amber is just sleepy Amber. What did I just knock over? Not my soda, so that's fine.
And I've used the vodka in a spray bottle too, but I actually just really prefer the Lysol disinfectant spray because it just smells better.
It's also like designed for that as opposed to, you know, vodka, which is designed for something else. Django says being a lightweight is really great because you don't have to spend a lot of money. It's true. One drink and I'm done. Junior says, are you going to any cons this summer or fall? So I have PFF at the Phoenix Fan Fusion at the end of this next month.
It's June 6th through the 9th. Or 7th through, sorry, June 7th through the 9th, right?
So at PFF then. And then I'm hoping to do Dragon Con. We'll have to see about that. That'll be something to be determined, TBD. And then almost certainly
UwuCon, are you still doing that?
Probably. What do you need me to do? Because that's what I'm going to be doing at UwuCon. Whatever Sam says I'm doing is what I'm doing at UwuCon.
I just got information on the venue and everything. I can't disclose publicly yet, but I will talk to you later.
So TBD, I will be doing something at UwuCon. And then I almost guaranteed do Tucson and Yuma because
Yuma is going to be the first week of November.
Oh, that'll be nice. That'll be nice and cool. Maybe we can actually like go out.
If you go to Dragon Con though, Tucson Comic Con and Dragon Con are the same weekend.
Oh no! So maybe I won't be at Tucson. We'll have to see. We shall have to see. What was I looking for? I cannot talk and craft at the same time, you guys. Oh, I want the little green.
Thomas, do it. Go to Dragon Con. It's worth it. I went last year, but I swear you need to go 2 years though, because the first year is going to be what I call training wheels, and then the second year you're prepared.
Mostly, I want to go with Sam because then I won't get lost.
Yeah, yeah. And I only have to go somewhere once to memorize its location, so
yeah. I'm just gonna benefit off of Sam's hard work already. What do I think about this? Yeah, I like that. That looks good. I like that. We're gonna do that. Bloop bloop. Right across.
And just so you know, Amber, we're at 6:18. I don't know how long you wanted to go today.
Oh, we'll probably go another like 10 minutes or so.
Okay. Do you want to go until 6:30?
Yeah, that sounds good. Let's do that. Okay. So since we have about 10 minutes, Matt says Amber is wise. Year 2 is much easier. That's just so much at Dragon Con. Yeah, that's Sam. I haven't been yet.
It's okay. No one can see me, so they just think of this ghostly voice.
She's the ghost in the shell. We need to get you like a little avatar, like in the corner that can like just pop up and just like.
Maybe I should do that. Yeah.
And you just press like play on it so that like whenever you're talking, you know, it's just kind of like going like that. I think that would be adorable. Yeah. So, what do I want to wrap up with? I guess. Okay. So I guess what I want to say then is if you are at the point where you are thinking about an original character, think about your community, think about your character, think about your costume, decide what your hierarchy is and go from there. And I think that'll help people give people a path to kind of go. So if you say, I want to build a Mando, you know, your community is the Mando Mercs, you start there and then you narrow it down. If you say, I want a costume for a convention, you know, like I want a comfortable costume, then you can start there and then build a character that fits that. Versus if you like, if you're like, oh, I want to build a dancer now, you know, now I'm going to think about what my community is, because a dancer at Ren Fair, a dancer at Con, and a dancer at like an OnlyFans shoot, like those are all very different costumes, or could be very different costumes. So like, you know, you can go from your character design to your community to your costume and kind of go from there. And then from there, the thing that I can tell you as far as adding layers to your character is just adding visual interest. And what do I mean by visual interest? I mean, when you look at Wolverine in comics versus Wolverine from Wolverine and Deadpool, they're the same costume, but there's something different about the live action version. And the difference is paneling, texturing, seam lines. Like it's not just a smooth panel of yellow. It is multiple panels broken up and shaped and given seam lines. And that's because a great way to add visual interest and realism to your character is to add that. Well, I kind of messed that up, but a great way to add depth to your character is to add that visual interest. So if you have an opportunity to add details to your character, whether that's in weathering, whether that's in accessories, whether that's in like, I'm a dancer, but I'm going to have a coin pouch on my waist because I'm a street dancer. Like suddenly that gives you more information about that character. One of the things I love, I have a pink Twi'lek, and she is supposed to be like a sophisticated madame. Like she runs a cantina, and it's so funny. I'm not describing Madame Garza. I know it sounds like I'm describing Madame Garza. This pink Twi'lek existed before Madame Garza, but I cosplayed Madame Garza before Madame Garza was a real thing. Because my pink Twi'lek owns a cantina, and she has dancers and companions that will, you know, keep you company and get you drinks and entertain you and stuff like that. And will also ply you for secrets. And she is a secret broker, is her real thing, is she trades in secrets. And that's how she stays in power, being on one of the core planets. Thank you, Matt. It's so funny. When Madame Garza came out, I got like 4 or 5 like texts of like, did you know they made Elira a real, and I'm sure they didn't know anything about Elira. I'm sure it's not that like friggin', you know, like Dave Filoni was like, oh, I love this character that this girl cosplayed, so I'm going to make like a version. It is not a truly unique character concept. I'm not saying that like they stole a concept or anything like that. It's just funny that I had this Twi'lek madame who ran a cantina, and then suddenly in Book of Boba Fett, I'm like, oh look, I'm canonized. My character is canonized. So hold on, let me switch. Sam, make me big because I don't know how to do this. Make me big. Okay, yeah, because we're gonna wrap up.
Oh, hang on. Let me escape. There you go. I
was like, run away. This is so funny with this light right here. Can you go over there? I don't know. I guess I need to work on lighting in here because like it's gonna get dark soon, so like I can't use the outside light, but anyway, so all right, let me
cool. It looks like you're in the 90s right now.
Hi Turco, good to see you. Turco says, who is your favorite Star Wars character that you've made? Original is Rio, my blue Twi'lek, because she's fucking awesome. Canon is Talon. I loved doing Darth Talon. I love that I'm never doing her again though, because that was so much freaking work. Garza had a cantina on Tatooine, not Coruscant, exactly. Elira's cantina is called the Kyber Rose, and it's like this really friggin' fancy place that like senators come and stuff like that. Turco says, Rio power. Thank you. Junior says, am I boring not being a beer drinker? No, I don't drink beer either. And I think I drink like maybe 6 times a year, if that. I can't remember the last time like I drank. You don't need to drink to be interesting. It's not a thing that needs to happen. But yeah, so going back to character creation, adding visual interest, adding details, adding weathering. Oh my gosh, you guys. One of the biggest things that like kind of drives me up the wall is when I see like beautiful armor come out and it's not weathered at all. Like, and I'm not going to sit here and say like you need to like make it dirty or grimy or anything like that, because Rio's armor is not dirty and grimy and will never be dirty and grimy because she washes it. But you will see that it has layers to it. It has, silver on the edging to represent wear. It has, a little bit of like darkness in the crevices to show, oh, there's my Rio. Yeah. So, and this goes back to like, you can see emphasizing the silhouette too, of how I emphasize like, and this is such a great, oh, I love this. This is so good. This is the evolution. And you can see in my own cosplays, how I worked through my character's evolution, and how one of the things that I'm most proud of in the last iteration of Rio is that she is more than 2 colors. So for so long, I thought I had to just be gold and black. And if you look at like her armor now, you still walk away thinking she's gold and black, but she also has silvers and grays and gunmetals and other colors to her, because the thing that I have learned that makes a character, the easiest way to make a character feel more grounded and more real, is to add that visual depth, those visual interests. So you can see there's paneling on my corset. There's, details on my pants now. My armor has multiple layers too, like it goes up and goes down. It's not just simple, straightforward, flat. Flat characters look good in comic books. They don't look good in real life. And so when you look at your character, just kind of sit back and think, okay, my character is so-and-so. How can I, like, what would this character have on them that would tell more of a story? Yeah, this is my Madame Garza, preliminary character. So she's like a fancy Twi'lek lady, and her whole thing is that like her aesthetic, thinking about her character concept is what I just told you. I wanted her to feel delicate, to feel luxurious, to feel rich, to feel fancy, to feel elegant. So like a lot of the choices I make is like adding, jewelry to her, adding these, lace details. I love doing like gloves on her. One of her dresses that I do has like a fur muff to it, because a muff is just like a thing that a rich lady has. So, she has a fur muff that she can tuck her hands into. So it's one of those things where like adding those little pieces to your character is going to help, bring more of that. Why are you out of battery? You shouldn't be out of battery. You're plugged in. Anyway, my laptop's like, I'm going to die. So it's good that we're going to be ending soon. So I hope that gives you all guys kind of a framework. Oh, this is my Inquisitor. I fucking love her. But look, there's a belt pouch. There's, scuffing on her armor. There's dirt on the boots. Like, this is a character that you look at and you go, that is a warrior. That is a character who is in the wilds, who's out and about, like, because of the visual detailing. The shirt is untucked. That is a specific thing that I designed. You can see, like, that's not I didn't be like, oopsie, I forgot to tuck my shirt. I literally did that intentionally to kind of give this idea that, she's not well put together because she's out, in the wilds fighting. She's the Inquisitor. She's fighting Solus, that dirty dreadwolf, because my Inquisitor rides the bull, not Solus.
Hey.
Egghead. Anyway. So as I do my final spiel, if anyone has any further questions, please drop them in the comments. Junior asked, do you know any languages from Star Wars? I know so little, like Mandalorian, and that's about it. I am not a languages person. That is not my strong suit. So where can you find me? My name is Amber Brite. You can find me at amberbritprops.com, which was Sam was just so kindly, and my ghost in the shell was so kindly scrolling through. You can also find me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. You can find me on Threads. You can find me on Blue Sky. I think I have a Snapchat, but remember. So you can probably find me on Snapchat, but like don't expect anything from there. And you can find me on Discord at Amber Brite. I have a Discord server, and I'm in the Xenomorph server and the Twi'lek server and Cause Talk Lives server. So you can find me in any of those places. My goal is to start posting in those a little bit more regularly so that people have a more direct line of communication with me. I have an Etsy store, amberbriteprops.etsy.com. I like to build custom things. So if you are like, oh, I have a bounty hunter who needs a really cool trophy belt, like, I'm your girl. I'm right here. I'll help you out. But that's about it. Oh, you can also email me at amber@amberbriteprops.com if you want to reach out that way. It will either be me or my husband who responds because I am terrible about responding to emails. But thank you all so much for joining. Sam, what's the next Cause Talk live stream? It's Diana's on next Sunday, right?
Nope, it's me tomorrow.
Okay. If you guys enjoyed this, join Sam tomorrow when she is playing Mass Effect.
Yep.
See, I pay attention. I know what's going on sometimes. Anyway. Junior, thank you. Mwah. Thank you so much. And yeah, that'll be it. Thank you all for joining me. Look for me the third Thursday of next month, unless I am really deep into Phoenix Fan Fusion Crunch, in which case I will be like, Sam, don't make me stream. I'm really stressed. But I'm going to try and be good about it.
I still think you should be, a specific mage from Dragon Age with me on Friday. I'm just putting it out there.
I haven't worn her to PFF. I could.
I'm like, I know we're wearing different game versions, but honestly, you do pop up in DAV, just a different outfit.
It's true. It's true. And I could always no, I'm not putting on myself to
no, do not do a new one. Use your existing one. It's fine.
I do like her new one, even though that weird twist in the stomach is I'm like, I do have cool boobs. Like, what's going on there? Like,
it makes no sense.
It makes no sense. I like the crown though. The crown is really cool. But anyway, thank you all for joining me, hanging with me, watching me decorate literally 1.5 things because I can't talk and decorate at the same time. So lesson learned to me, this is not a good thing to be crafting while I'm talking. Who knows what I'll be crafting next time. Yeah, it will not be this. It will be something else. Maybe I'll be painting or something like that. Painting is nonsensical. Django says, Amber, did you make any progress in getting your Twitch account back? Django, I completely forgot I was supposed to do that. So no, because I forgot. But I will work on that because then I can start streaming to Twitch too. And then I do have plans on streaming more regularly. It's just, there's so much going on right now. So much.
Yes.
But anyway, I will see you all in a month. Sam will see you all tomorrow. And then if you want to join another cosplay focused stream, Cos Mom, I think,
is going to be the following Saturday.
Yeah. So not this coming Saturday, but the next Saturday. So you can join her. I don't know what she'll be talking about, but she is
Saturday the 26th. So. Yeah, she has. I don't think she's done it. She talked about patterns, how to read them last time.
Oh, nice. That's so handy. I don't know how to do that sometimes.
Yeah. I think she wanted to talk about sewing notions at one point. So that might be it.
Okay. So there you go. Someone who knows more about sewing than I do. It's not hard. I don't know a lot about sewing. All right. Thank you all. Have a wonderful, amazing Thursday and an amazing weekend. Stay hydrated, stay creative, and don't forget to cosplay on. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Private chat.